Welcome back. It's Saturday morning. We appreciate everybody coming back around. Wanted to say thank you for, I guess there was a lot more traction to last week's show than we normally get, so do appreciate that. Over 700 views, and for not to happen on this channel is definitely something. Anyway, I do have a really special thanks to Leakish Bao that tipped the channel $10. I appreciate that. You guys don't have to do that, but the fact that you tipped us their hard-earned money is greatly appreciated. I'm not saying everybody's got to do that or anything like that, but that was certainly super cool. So I appreciate that more than you know. Like I said, I always talk about this, working class people, the 9-to-5ers out there, the time clock punchers, we do what we can and try to make things work. As much as, we would love to just go out there and buy all kinds of new cool stuff for ourselves. Of course, other things are, take priority over that. And I think as most of us know. All right. So anyway, last week's show, yes, we were talking about Colt's releasing of the Pythons and blued with different barrel lengths now. So that's going to be super cool. Because myself, I own a 2.5-inch, the stainless model. The more of the lustrous polished stainless, I guess you could say. It's that, because I know they have two versions. I think they have matte stainless as well. I go with the polished stainless. This is my preference, my choice. But that was cool to see that blued 2.5, because that's always been one of those that has been kind of expensive on the collector's market, if you will, and all that. Now it's kind of cool to see one coming around. What I was going to say, if you guys watch one of the main movies that I can think of that has that model in it predominantly, actually two movies. We'll go ahead and name the two. One is Out for Justice. The main bad guy, you could say, I'll always just say it that way. This is the villain of the movie, played brilliantly by William Forsythe. He carries a 2.5-inch blue Python throughout the whole thing. Man, I tell you, he plays such a sleazeball in that one. Just does a really good job as that character. Really makes you hate him, and I always felt like that too. Like whenever you get an actor that can really do that. Play a role like that where you really just, oh man, you just hate that guy. You just really, that character that they portray. And then they go ahead and do something like where they're in a movie, like when you're talking about William Forsythe, when he does a movie like The Devil's Rejects, which is directed by Rob Zombie, which is a heavy metal musician that also tried his hand in the director's chair making movies. I'm not going to say all his movies are good, but I will give him this credit that The Devil's Rejects, I think it's a trio, House of a Thousand Corpses, Devil's Rejects, and Three from Hell. Those movies are completely just original ideas. I mean, to me, just like The Devil's Rejects is almost hard to call a horror. I mean, it is a horror, but it's like a horror drama type deal. Like it's a very interesting movie. It's a roller coaster ride. Anyway, but William Forsythe plays a character in that too, and a pretty for the most part kind of unpredictable train wreck himself there. That could be turning in. So anyway. But there's that out there. And the last movie that I was going to mention before we got totally sidetracked with that features a blued 2.5-inch Python would be the movie Black Rain with Michael Douglas, Andy Garcia. That's a really good movie. So Michael Douglas carries one in it before he has to relinquish it to the police over where he's going, transporting the prisoners. So if you haven't seen it, it's a good movie. All right. Mickey Mantle says, morning, Easter morning. As usual, great talk. Live life, friends, enjoy, blessings. Yes, living it up with people you love and spending time with them is, you can't put a price on that. Just certain things throughout life, start taking priorities over other things. especially us working stiffs, and where we got to make things meet together when a lot of those numbers and time does not exactly come together. For me, definitely time. I don't have the time. I don't have the time to. I've decided to change gears in life and kind of take, stop. I guess I'm just switching directions, putting a lot of things that maybe on the back burner per se, and focus on other things, and just change the gears up a little bit, mainly because I don't have the time, and I'd rather spend. I started thinking like, I need to rather spend some of this time, um, because obviously with the focus of family and everything, but also focus that time for myself a little bit, and realize that I need to stop, slow down, and take a break. And definitely, it's always good to do that. Remember that, working class stiffs, stop and, maybe it's try not to just be go, go, go every day. Try to take a step back, and you know what, maybe for once, just, sit on your couch and watch a movie. All right. This one here comes from the Crazy Scotsman. Yes, yes, sir. We knew it would eventually come to market. Too much demand from the public. Glad to see you were able to get a show in. We were late last week, but we appreciate everybody still tuning in. Time with your mother is something that can never be replaced. Enjoy all you can. Isn't that the truth? All right, Jeffrey Richardson. Yes, sir. I love the Duelist's channel. Mike is a great historian. We were talking about that. Duelist 1954. To me, one of the underrated channels out there that doesn't get the attention and the subscribers that I believe he should rightfully deserve. He's a good dude. I've never met him, obviously, but just the way he comes across in his videos, very. I like his delivery in his videos. He's not boring. He doesn't. It's not like his stuff just like, I don't know. There's some people that have channels out there, both very successful and both non-successful, I guess. I don't know. We're not really a successful channel. I don't know. Maybe to everybody else's opinion. I'm just grateful that we have the 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 handful of people that we got that enjoy this show and understand what we do and keep coming back every Saturday morning. So as long as you folks are still here, that's what matters the most. So anyway, but anyhow, like I said, he's not like that Mr. Barnett's math class type deal, which I always kind of talked about. So anyway, here we got Cap says, that's good news. Can't wait to see them. Glad you're able to post today. Saturdays aren't the same without you. Be safe, and I appreciate that, Cap. It's exactly that kind of comments and people and that keep us going. I mean, I don't care if there's only 10 of you. It's nice to still have that that amount of people that are just that niche of people that are still enjoying what we do here. Slim Fire, morning JW. I didn't see this until Sunday morning, so I hope you're having a happy Easter, Slim. I appreciate that, Slim, as usual. Glad to see your commenting here, and I believe me, you folks. I always know when we're missing one of the main people that are always here. Yeah, so at least the comment wise. So I know not everybody comments, but you're always here listening, so I do appreciate that. Even though you don't comment. All right, Jeffrey Richardson. Wow, great news. Yes, about the Pythons. JW here. All right, my man JW. Okay, happy Easter and good on you for recognizing how valuable your mom is. Yes, very much so. All right, when it comes to Pythons, I like the 4 and the 6 royal blue versions, even though I never obtained either. I've come close to getting a Diamondback 38, but let it ride until it went with someone else. It was pretty small feeling in my hand. Later, when I got the old Cobra, that was too small for me, but still chaps me about the thief. I do recall that. Yeah, somebody that is going to steal from somebody. I tell you that's always that always buggers me too, man. I tell you, it's like a thorn in the side. Go out and work for your own, and earn earn something instead of taking it from somebody else that, perhaps made all the sacrifices that you did not, or maybe don't know how to do. All right. Changing the subjects, I'd like to revisit the subject of loading hot Magnum rounds with, sounds like a Winchester 296 or H110. My loads using Hercules unique powder were high pressures without producing adequate velocity. I don't have electronics to tell me that velocity I was getting, but observation showed me that primers were signaling pressure spikes by finding them nearly finding the nearly undeformed bullet in the dust. Told me what I needed to know. I had begun reloading to save money. I think a lot of us do, and some people enjoy tinkering. And I enjoy tinkering. Used to enjoy it, a lot more than I do now. Although I don't really do a whole lot much of it anymore. But took advice without following up with better observation. When I actually, I gotta make this bigger, man. I tell you, my eyes I cannot read small print. When I actually read the velocity information in my manuals, I realized that Unique was not the best powder for 44 Magnum. 296 and H110 were making highest velocity and used the same weight charges. I was concerned that I would have higher pressure spiking, but that was not the case. Firing H110 left my primers with less flattening than the Unique loads. To be honest, I haven't used the powder in smaller calibers, only 44 Magnum for my rifle loads. I use IMR 4064 and IMR 3031, depending on the bullet weights. Anyone doing hand loading is well advised to read as much information is relevant. That's definitely. Anybody that's going to be doing hand loading, literally buy your books. I'm a big advocate of buying books, hard copies. I have books from the 60s to the 70s. I keep them all, and I scour a lot of bookstores, and if I find them, my buddy knows I look for them too, and I keep them because you can always cross-reference, go back and look at something. I tell you, man, data changes. It changes so much. I've got, I don't have it out on the table, but I got 2 freebie catalog type manuals that Hodgkin put together, both from last year and this year. And I taped them together just to kind of keep them as reference. I might, as the years go by, if I can keep finding them or whatever, I'll keep adding to it, making my own type phone book, if you will, of information. The information just from the last year to this year changes dramatically. I mean, there's like bullet weights and recipes that are just like totally not in the other one versus the next one. So really crazy stuff. But yeah, that is probably the most best advice someone can get, is to read as much information as is relevant. Just get out there and get some stuff. Another one here from Leakish Ballad. Thank you for your work. We appreciate that. We do it for you folks. That's it. I mean, without you folks, there's no point in me sitting here doing this. All right, Squib Lift. I am waiting for the Colt to re-release the Diamondback. That would be something. That would be cool to re-release the Diamondback. Those of you not familiar with the Diamondback is built on the D frame size of Colt's revolvers. The D frame size is the same size as the Detective Special and I think the Cobra. All right. Sean Lee says Happy Easter to you all. Joe P, good evening, JW. Guess I'm having bourbon instead of coffee with this video. Just got off the ellipses page, and the shorter pythons in blue are awesome. But if my one gun a year choice is a python, this year I'm going with a 4-inch. Always goes back to Magnum Force. Yes, there is something about that. I can't help to agree with you all the more. All right. Okay. This one here is from Po Boy Fresh. Are they still going to have the ugly QR code on the side? I assume, unfortunately, they're probably not going to change that. It doesn't really bother me, honestly, to each their own. Then again, I'm not bothered by a key lock on a Smith revolver. But yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna say that that was a poor choice on their part. They should have put that on the frame tang where the grips go, where the grips cover it up. I don't know why they do that. I don't know why they do certain things. Companies do things like that. Like, I mean, for instance, like I saw a Beretta 92. I guess depends on what year it's from. Literally, the whole side of the slide on the left side was like the whole thing that says like read instruction manual. This gun capable of firing without the magazine, and all. I mean, just like this whole like mini paragraph or something like that on the side, right on the slide. I thought that was just awful looking. Like that. That to me is a deal breaker. I'm not. I think though most of them have it like a little bit of a warning, like on the dust cover part of the frame. It's over there. I mean, that okay. Like I don't want to nitpick, but not real. That kind of it's borderline for me. It depends on how it looks, and maybe I can do something about it. But anyway, but yeah, the QR code thing. I don't know. I think some people are, it's just, I don't know. It doesn't really bother me. So, all right, Aaron Buck Cool and Mark Turner says, okay, but they are 1,500 in blue. Right, they are. But they're out. I'm not saying $1,500 is cheap, but it is what it is. And I'm just glad that they're making them and they're out. And it sure as heck beats prior to these new Pythons coming out, getting raped for $4,000 for one. That's for sure. Anyway, basically, what JW was talking about in the talking about some of the powder charges and stuff for 357 Magnum. I actually, as far back when I was originally loading, when I was really hot into all this stuff, I was like, man, I was hard charging forward, and I was any chance I got to get to the range and pull the trigger, you better believe I was there. Fast forward about 16 years or longer, I'm not so quick to run to do that. I'm like, getting a little more tired. But anyway, again, reading manuals and books, but I actually, believe it or not, was not much of a 357 Magnum loader. In fact, I really didn't dabble around with it at all. I just stuck with 38 Special. Reason being, a lot of this stuff, I am not interested in cracking a forcing cone on my revolver. All right. Not saying that it can happen, firing or whatever, but I have over the years, and I spent a lot of years in the business checking out a lot of different firearms and stuff like that. I've seen a lot of cracked forcing cones. A ton. Some that really was just heartbreaking to see. A lot of worn out, So that's the thing too. Like I know some people disagree, but a revolver is not quite like a semi-automatic. A revolver doesn't get better the more you shoot it. The revolver actually gets worse as you shoot it. Okay, it does. It puts wear and tear on it. There's a lot of things that start giving out on it, timing, whatever. That forcing cone takes a beating. And if you look at the size of different ones, different revolvers have different thicknesses of it. I was actually talking to an old friend of mine that I met him back when I was working at a range, and he's really into a lot of revolvers. He's a Ruger guy. And he said too, like there were certain loads that police departments and stuff like that back in the revolver heydays, that were certain loads and certain pressures that of 357 Magnum that was cracking forcing cones, notably cracking forcing cones. The majority of these were done on Smith & Wesson K frames, probably like the model 1966 or whatever, those revolvers there. So I know JW doesn't like unique, although I have been more on the favor of it. I do like to use it for my 357. So this is the stuff that I have so far tried out in the 357 Magnum. Again, I haven't really been, this is kind of loading 357 Magnum has been kind of a new thing for me. I have tried thus far unique, tight group, and H110. my favorite is unique because it provides I'm just going to the range of punching paper. That's it. When I do so on a rare occasion these days. But most part, that's what I've been doing. I just go to the range, punch paper. All right. So I don't need anything that's going to, completely blow buildings down. I'm using it really as just an extra little oomph. Like that's it. Most of the time I shoot 38s. If I want a little bit more of a, maybe like kind of busting off the big firecrackers, I'll probably throw it in there. Now, I have not noticed any kind of like weird thing. I don't know, but I get where you're coming from, where you had some no expansion or whatever from the bullets and stuff like that. For me, I tend to favor that. Tight group does provide a little bit more to me, like a little bit more punchy. Not by much. I mean, almost side by side, they're about the same. However, I noticed with tight group, what I've noticed is going to push to extract the shells out. They do stick a little bit, not just in my Python, but my buddy's Model 19 Smith & Wesson does the same. They stick. In fact, we had some odd crap happening with his, which it happened to him twice. But it hasn't happened to me. I'm going to knock on this wood right here, but it hasn't happened to me. But what has happened to him is the casing actually separated in the middle. Like that. I mean, it looked like you took like a saw blade and just went like a like a Dremel tool and just with a cutting blade and just went right through it, just popped it in half. And this happened upon ejecting. They were stuck. He hit it, and next thing you know, how we noticed it the first time, he went to go rechamber some rounds. One round wouldn't go through. We couldn't figure it out. He loaded just the 5, shot it. We took it home, and we looked at it, and I said, I'll be damned if I see something in there that looks strange. And now we're using brand new brass, Starline, okay, the good stuff. And this happened to this twice. Twice it happened to him. Couldn't figure that out. We actually punched a little casing out, and we saw that it was sheared in half. We looked in the bag of brass that we were collecting from that day, and sure enough, we found one completely trimmed in half. No idea what causes that. That's the first for me that I've seen that. And it's not like we're loading stuff to nuclear, specs or anything like that. So that was definitely interesting with using tight group in it. So that being said, not sure if we want to continue using tight group. And we really just went with the charge right off the bottle. Literally, we're using the same recommended charge right off the bottle with the same weight. Projectile, bullet, whatever, so that's that. H110 did produce the full-blown Magnum, I would say. H110, we got a can of it. That's the only can we've got. H110 did seem to produce the full-blown Magnum. I will give it that. You wanna experience that, the real 357 Magnum, the H110 would say. It definitely spit fireballs. It definitely had the recoil. It was pretty. It was stout with using and we weren't even going to full pressures with it. We were So I used the line pistol and revolver handbook, the 3rd edition here. That's mostly what I use. I've had this for years, and I got a couple photocopied pages out of a. God, I can't remember the book now. The books, these are out of the book itself is like a little mini 3-ring binder. Take them out. I can't remember if it's like Sierra or I don't know, one of those older companies. But I took a couple photocopies of the 357 Magnum page, and now I wasn't doing anything with the 110 grain bullet, but I was looking more of the 125s because that seems to be what we were getting our hands on. 125 full metal jackets. Just standard plinking stuff. But, we're talking here, it's, you can use bullseye powder, 231, which is the Winchester accurate number 2. Unique, of course, accurate number 5. Herco is listed in there. I think I actually have some Herco left over for my good buddy. I carry one. Accurate number 7, blue dot, which I used to have some of that. I don't think I still have it. Accurate number 9, 2400. Good luck finding that. I don't even remember last time I saw it. I have a really antique can of that, metal can, I just use for display purposes. H110, of course, right there, and Winchester 296. That is what is listed on here. You guys can go do your own research and figure out what recipes you're going to use and what kind of pressures and stuff like that you're experiencing. But be careful. But if anybody does know what was causing those casings to do that, and I mean they're like perfectly cut, like almost like if you put this thing on like a pipe cutter and did it. But it happened upon him extracting, and it stuck, and obviously pulled it apart. But the stuck casings was really mostly happening with the tight group. Like I said, again, that's probably why also we're really going to shy away. Did not happen with the Unique. Didn't happen with the Unique. Didn't even happen with that. But then again, we didn't shoot too many of these, to be honest with you there. Here again, we got the 140 grain, the 158 grain. We'll go ahead and read through the 158 grain stuff because I think to me the 125s and the 158s probably the most common ones that I've seen. Then again, I've never really been one to load this cartridge a whole lot, so I'm pretty new to it too. Not new to loading, but definitely new to the 357 Magnum. All right. This one we're getting primers wise, or not primers, powder wise, sorry. Bullseye 231, accurate 2, accurate 5, accurate 7, 9. We got Unique, Herco, Blue Dot 2400, H110, 296. So same powders, basically same recipes. We'll go ahead and look through here, and this is again. We'll go ahead and this is another reason why I always say different books, different stuff, different strokes. What you talking about, Willis? All right, here we go. 125s. According to the Lyman book, I got Bullseye, Unique, Accurate 5, Power Pistol. That's a new one. I actually thought about trying some Power Pistol. I used Power Pistol when I first started loading. Haven't used it since, but I do know how to get my hands on some of that. Don't tell anybody that is a Unique powder, or a Alliant powder, Alliant, where this stuff is rare as heck. I actually was so lucky I picked this one up from a friend of mine that used to have a shop. They got it because it was an estate. So, all right. But anyway, okay, back over here. We had Power Pistol, N340. I'm assuming that's the Vitavori stuff, which I have zero experience with that. True Blue, only ever seen it, never used it. HS7, Blue Dot, 2400. 2400 is listed in bold, signifying it's probably the most accurate or one that provided the best stuff for them. N110, H110, IMR 4227. I've only ever used IMR 4227 in 30 carbine. All right, moving on over to the 158s. This one's got Unique, True Blue, Blue Dot, AA7, Enforcer. I have not used Enforcer. Heard of Enforcer is a ram shot powder, which is owned by I believe Accurate, which actually I believe Hodgdon owns like everybody damn near. So all right, N110, 2400, AA9, H110, IMR 4227. All right, so there's that. That's for the jacketed stuff. Over here, they've got lead slugs here. Like for instance, on the lead, the 125s, you got Bullseye, Unique, Herco, Power Pistol, AA5, HS6, Blue Dot, 2400. So the list is a little shorter, a little bit different. There, looks like we got 150 grain. I guess that's the closest to the 158 here. Bullseye, Herco, Blue Dot, HS6, AA7, AA9, 2400, N110, H110, IMR 4227. So you can see different powders, different ones. They go from different things to different ones. Books are always, really important. Again, this is what I've had experience with. The stuff that I can tell you three here that I've definitely had experience with. The tight group was not bad, like I said, but the only reason I'm kind of shying away from that now and kicking that one out is because that did provide, that did, I seem to notice for whatever reason, those casings are getting a little sticky on ejecting it. And it's not had nothing to do with the cylinders being dirty or not. We're talking about brand new cleaned, cylinders and everything going out, firing that, sticking a little bit. Like I said, my friend had in his Model 19 what those separations of the casings, which is definitely was like, whoa, what's going on with that? H110 definitely did provide the fireballs. Unique, again, my favorite thus far is Unique. I don't know. So, anyway, hope you enjoyed the chat and the hangout this Saturday. Chime in, please. Again, like I'm not saying that what I'm doing is the end all, do all. I'm just stating my experiences. Then again, I'm not a fireball shooter. I don't really like cranking up stuff to the highest pressures or whatever. I'm not out there trying to do that. That's just what I do. That's my choice. Not saying that that's what you should do or anything like that. I'm not one of those people. It's like, well, this is what I do, and everybody's got to follow that. Uh, anyway, that's just what I've had experience with. Anyway, you guys have a great weekend.